My name is Angelica, and I will be speaking on serving in the Spirit.
Amen.
My text will be from Philippians chapter 2, verses 1 through 8. And starting in verse 1, it reads, "Therefore, if you have any encouragement from being united with Christ, if any comfort from his love, if any common sharing in the Spirit, if any tenderness and compassion, then make my joy complete by being like-minded, having the same love, being one in spirit and of one mind. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of the others. In your relationships with one another, have the same mindset as Christ Jesus, who, being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness. And being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross." Point number 1, become like-minded. Verse 2 reads, "Then make my joy complete by being like-minded, having the same love, being one in spirit and of one mind." We as sisters are united by the Spirit, but what does it mean to be united in mind? To be of the same mind is to be united in purpose and motivations. Our purpose, as mentioned in Matthew 22, verses 37 through 40, love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as you love yourself. In John 13, verses 34 and 35, Jesus commands us to love one another like he loved us. To be united in love, Matthew 22, verse 39, is a great example of this. Love your neighbor as yourself. To be in one spirit or to be in full accord is a general reference to unity. To be of one mind means to have the same understanding. Sisters, we have given our lives to Christ, are united with him, and that should encourage you in itself. When we become like-minded and love God and love our neighbors as ourselves, then we become compelled to serve God, the body, your family, and friends, and we become united in spirit and mind. Point number 2, not your own interests, but the interests of others. Verse 4 reads, "Not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of the others." In the Passion Translation, it says, "When we look to the interest of others, there is no room for self-promotion in our hearts." Don't allow self-promotion to hide in your hearts. If you do something for someone else with the expectation of getting something in return, there will be disappointment. Sisters, are you willing and eager to serve out of love for Jesus and his body? If not, you may be giving into self-promotion. God is far more interested in why we serve others than in how well we serve them. And when it comes to serving, we are really performing an act of service to God.
Come on, sis.
Until you experience the power of God's grace in your life, you're too enslaved by your own habits to really be able to even think about others. A quote by Rick Warren. One reason we might not have the time or energy to serve others is because we can be too busy with our own lives. Sisters, ask yourself this question. Am I usually more concerned about being served or finding ways to serve others? Point number 3. Jesus is the example. In verse 8, it reads, of Philippians, "And being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross." There are many different examples in the Bible of how Jesus was a servant. In Mark chapter 10, verse 45, Jesus said, "For even the Son of Man did not come to be saved, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many." If you think about it, when it comes to washing someone's dishes, sweeping a floor, taking out the trash, staying behind to help clean up is nothing compared to what Jesus did for us on the cross. Jesus gave sacrificially and calls us all to do the same. What example are you following? As women of God, it is given that if we want to be like Jesus, then we are going to have to be servants. And it really comes down to denying yourself every day. We are all called to imitate Jesus by serving others. Luke chapter 9, verse 23. To be like-minded, we will need to deny ourselves. In an article that I read called What It Means to Be a Servant, it said that if serving is below you, leadership is beyond you. You might be asking yourself, how can I be more of a servant? To be a servant, you must think like a servant. And servants think like stewards, not owners. Good stewards are committed to selfless service. And as far as practicals go, I only have one. Every day, pray for God to help you become a servant. When we make it about just ourselves, we lose our purpose and are unable to be like-minded in love and spirit. Pray how you can allow Jesus' example to be evident through the way that you make yourself less and others more. Thank you.